Testosterone is a steroid hormone, also known as an androgen. And testosterone is absolutely essential for both male and female health, although today I'm going to be focusing on male health. And what we're seeing is that testosterone goes up generally in the population of males up to about the age of 28, 30 or just over, and then it slowly declines at about 1% a year. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is something called androgen deficiency, when the testosterone levels are actually dropping down too early, too fast. So I've got my little decrease there on the graph, but it can happen anywhere as a result of certain circumstances that I will explain very, very soon. Now, what happens is, as a result of that, there are a number of health outcomes that can be quite serious for men. And it starts off with low levels of testosterone are linked in with an increase in metabolic syndrome. Now, you've all heard of that nowadays, and it's primarily diabetes, a risk of increased diabetes type 2, which we've got up here, and cardiovascular disease, primarily heart attacks and stroke. So low testosterone is linked with those. It's also linked with mental health. And we see an increase in depression, mood disorders, and in fact there's something called GOM. I coined that one, but it's called grumpy old men, in men that shouldn't have it because they're not that old. So if you've got a partner who's getting a little bit grumpy, guess what? It could be their testosterone levels are too low. And of course, you've got sleep disorders and a whole raft of other mental health issues related to it. So one of the first things we should all do, gentlemen, is if you identify any of these signs or symptoms, what you want to do is get tested by your GP. One of the other symptoms is bone density, a decrease in bone density and osteoporosis. A decrease in lean body mass, that's the muscle mass, and generally an increase in the visceral mass around your belly, so the visceral fat. Fortunately, we put that down to aging. Not necessarily, it's usually a product of testosterone and inactivity and all those other things we're doing. There's a lot of men's issues too, and this is the bit that gets the men motivated to do something about it. Go to the doctor, get tested, and of course find out. Erectile dysfunction is a major link with low testosterone. Low libido, decreased fertility or infertility, male-related infertility, a big issue in young couples and so on, from both the males and females, and it is a male issue as well. Competitive behaviour and, of course, motivation. Things that we typically associate with males, the drive and the push, the success and the seeking out is dramatically low. And that can be related very much to low testosterone. So if you're seeing these, then of course down the bottom, as a result of all these, you've got a lower quality of life. And look, that's why we're here, to enjoy the quality. That's why I'm here sharing all this information and so much more with people, is to enjoy that quality of life throughout your life. It's not even about the years you live, it's how well you live them, and quality of life and testosterone are closely related there. And then finally, mortality. Low testosterone is linked with a significant increase in mortality. In fact, in one study over a 12-year period, they showed that the group that had the lowest testosterone had a 40% increased risk of dying, mortality, compared to the people with the highest testosterone. Now, other studies have actually seen higher numbers. That was probably the best study that I've come across, but it showed high numbers. So mortality, your death, the risk of all-cause mortality, heart attacks, strokes, cancers, all those appear to be related to lower testosterone. So in terms of that, then what causes it? We're living in the 21st century. We're not out in the bush doing what we should be doing. So what are the factors contributing to low testosterone? And the first one are the medications. Unfortunately, the medications which are supposed to be doing us good have side effects. And we've got things like your SSRIs, your selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Prozac is a classic example of that one. And what they do is lower testosterone. In fact, I posted a shorter talk up on this in one of my forums, and we had guys coming back and saying, as soon as I went on SSRIs, my levels of testosterone dramatically dropped really quickly, and I had to get off, and all these things. So there was a lot of anecdotal evidence just coming up on some of the posts that I put up. Opioids, the overuse and overprescription and the addiction to opioids leads to a lowering testosterone levels. Corticosteroids, which are things like prednisolone, for example, is an example of one. And of course, statin drugs. Now, you're probably not aware, but, are you ready? Your steroid hormones, testosterone, is made out of cholesterol. And so if you're mucking around with the building blocks of your steroid hormones, there's no doubt that you're going to have troubles as a result of statins. And if you want to know more about statin use, check out my presentations, my videos on cholesterol deception. So then we've got what else causes low testosterone, because we want to be able to avoid these things if we can. And we've got high noise. Now, there are a couple of studies I found, high noise related to it. It's not the general background noise, business noise in the street. It's high industrial related noise led to it. Phthalates, which are a group of these plasticides or chemicals that you find in a whole raft of your products, your personal care products. That's why I gave up shampoo. Joke, of course, guys. Your makeup, personal care products, all of these things in your plastics, in your everything synthetic has a group of these phthalates in them. Perfumes, fragrances, and so on, all have phthalates in them, and they've been shown to lower your levels of testosterone. And I'll post up on that. I've done a lot of work on these toxic chemicals over the decades, and of course pesticides are another one. And it's not just the old pesticides like atrazine, which is a herbicide, but some of the new ones that they use in around the house, like deltamethrin. And these are the ones that end on thrin, okay? If they've got a name with thrin on them, then they may be lowering your testosterone. Again, a lot of research is coming out recently on all of those. One of the other big factors is visceral fat. So while testosterone leads to visceral fat increase, putting on extra weight around the gut also leads to low testosterone. So it's a catch-22, and what we want to do is minimize that. So what we want to do is look at ways of reducing this to increase our testosterone. How simple is that, eh? Come on. And then inactivity. And activity is so important. In fact, in the studies that I've read, and there are dozens of them, okay, dozens of them, they seem to suggest that activity outweighs visceral fat. So if you've got a very overweight person or obese person, if that person gets up and gets out and does the activity, then, you ready? Testosterone levels will go up, despite the visceral fat. Now, the great thing is, if you get out and do the exercise and you eat well, you'll drop the visceral fat, the obesity, weight around the stomach as a result as well. It's a win-win-win situation. Now, when it comes to activity, or the opposite, inactivity, it really comes down to the longer you do it and the more intense you do it, the better it is. Well, just walking is enough. If you do weights along the way, and if you go to the gym, as all the guys told me, if you go to the gym and work out really hard, it increases your testosterone level because it actually helps to put on muscle mass. It's a win-win situation. So my suggestion is just, first of all, for most of us, just get up and walk a little bit more. Just do simple physical activity things around as a result. And if you can, pick up a few weights and do a few bits and pieces in between. Get some support and help out there. Nutritional deficiencies play a role. Look, the building blocks, where modern medicine has gone wrong, they've lost the plot. The building blocks of everything in our body comes from our nutrition. Nothing can happen in our body if we don't get the nutrition. And the typical nutrients we find with low testosterone is zinc, magnesium, vitamin D. And they've actually found in the studies, vitamin D, by the way, is the sunlight vitamin that I get plenty of every single day because I live in a place with lots of sunlight and it's great. But they found in the studies that supplementing with vitamin D at the recommended level actually helps increase testosterone. So there's something really simple you can do. Get out in the sun while you're walking and or supplement with some vitamin E, which is what the studies consistently show. And polyphenols. And the polyphenols that are low tend to be the plant-based nutrients, the big ones that you get in turmeric, the curcumin and the resveratrol. Everyone thinks you get it in red wine, but not by far, nowhere near enough. It's all those greens and the blues and the colours that you get in plant-based foods. So start eating and start increasing your consumption of the plant-based foods and supplementing with some of these polyphenols that you can get from all of the health food stores. And then finally, there are some foods that can play havoc with testosterone. And at the top of the list are the soy foods. So guys, get off soy. Ladies, consider your testosterone level as well, estrogen level balance. But guys, get off soy. That's all of the soy food. Now, if it's a little bit of fermented soy, if it's a little bit of tofu or a little bit of whatever else, fine, not a problem. It's the fact that we are now consuming something that was consumed in small amounts in large amounts. And when it's fermented, it becomes better than if it's just a soya milk or a soya drink. Soya was never meant to be consumed that way. We were never meant to consume it. So please, guys, get off the soya drinks and so on. By the way, as I'll hint a little bit later, almond milk and the nut milks are very different. They've got a couple of ingredients in them that actually help with the testosterone level. But get off the soy level. I'll talk about that in a moment. High-fat diet. Obviously, we've been told enough about that. Your sugar, and here's, so you'll want to lower your junk foods, your processed foods, your sugar, all of those processed foods. And finally, interestingly, our caffeine. But caffeine at higher concentrations can lower testosterone. So this is a list of so many of the things that you can look at your life now and say, okay, what can I do? And the first part is avoiding some of these. And the next part is literally, what can I do to increase testosterone level? So the next question is, how do we increase our testosterone levels? And I like dealing with it naturally, first and foremost, because that's what it was meant to be. And in the process of doing this, you rebuild so many other areas of health. For example, gut health. And I should mention also that gut health is intimately linked with testosterone levels as well. So one of the important things is eat the right foods and do the right things for the gut as well, because it helps with testosterone. So how do we increase our testosterone levels? The first one is activity. I've already mentioned that. And doesn't matter, just increase your activity, whatever you can. And if you can increase it with some weights or some extra stress on the muscles and so on, fantastic, okay? Weight loss, without a doubt, weight loss will help, and it helps so many other benefits out there. And if you want the secrets to weight loss, I'll put a lot of information up on weight loss, but here it is. It's really simple. Get off the processed foods. Stop eating processed foods. Get off the processed carbohydrates. We have to start really rethinking the way we eat, but I won't go into that right now. Weight loss. Reduce your exposure to toxic chemicals, and that means actually reading the labels. And if there's too many names in there you don't understand, then hey, forget it. But I can tell you now that many of the typical products you'll buy off the shelf to put on your skin, and even in your mouth some cases, have these phthalates and other chemicals that can affect your testosterone level. And you might think I'm a little bit paranoid, but hey guys, I'm the guy who does the research, okay? I do the research, and I've been researching this stuff for 30 years now. So reduce your exposure to toxic chemicals. And of course, in terms of medications, speak to your GP about it. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a researcher. I'm an ex-associate professor. I do the research. So every day I read journals. I can't tell you to get off your medications, but go speak to your doctor about it. And remember, you're the health expert. Ask them or suggest what you can do, and get them to help you with that. That's a great way to approach it, okay? Then the foods. Foods are really important. No matter which way you look at it, they're the things that build up your nutrition. And interestingly enough, there's a couple of ingredients in nuts that specifically help with increasing your testosterone. So one is one called geranium oil. I don't even know how to pronounce that properly, but it comes up in the studies, and it's found in lots of nuts and spices and herbs, but it actually helps increase testosterone. And another one, arginine, or L-arginine. You can get that as a supplement, and that helps lower blood pressure. Great results on that in terms of lowering blood pressure. Moringa is another one. So that's why you have nuts, because it's got that combined. By the way, it's got the zinc, the magnesium, and all the other nutrients. Nuts are my go-to for a snack at any time, and I have them every single day. Look, check out my posts on nuts. You'll be surprised at how good they are. Moringa, which is one of these new age, although it's been around for thousands of years, a new age in terms of the supplement market. I actually have a couple of moringa trees bushes out the back. I don't get much leaf from them, but they're fantastic for just general nutrients. And there are studies that show that moringa increases your testosterone, probably just because it is so protein and nutrient dense. Evu, which is your extra virgin olive oil. Hey, there's a good one. So you can add an extra spoon. Now, if someone tells you to lower your fats, I'm sorry, get rid of them. They're useless. Extra virgin olive oil, local from your area, from your state or country, wherever you are. Extra virgin olive oil has so many benefits out there, lowering your risk of heart attack, stroke, diabetes, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and here it helps increase testosterone, the studies show. And fish consumption, moving away from the red meat consumption. However, also poultry shows up in terms of, to a lesser degree than fish, in increasing testosterone levels. But always get free range fish, probably, but free range chickens as well in terms of your poultry, because what they graze on is what you get, and you want to get the nutrients which comes from free range. Supplements, there are some supplements that you can use, and this should be pretty well in a mix of things like biotin. It's a B vitamin. So it's actually B7. B7, it's water soluble, and if you're taking a multivitamin, it's probably already in there. If you're taking a B vitamin mix, then it's probably in there. Vitamin K, minoquinone, K4, and K4 is the main one shown to increase testosterone, and you get that in a lot of your foods and nuts. You also get that in red meat and fish and as a supplement. And melatonin. Now, melatonin is totally independent. Most countries around the world, with the exception of Australia and New Zealand, you can buy melatonin levels, helps with sleep. Potent antioxidant, fantastic supplement, not just for sleep, for so many areas, because it's potent antioxidant properties right in the cells in the mitochondria where the work really gets done. So melatonin. Now, this is what everyone's been waiting for. What about the herbs? Because I've heard about Jack, or something called Tongkat Ali. Same thing. There's about a dozen names I came across. I think it's Malaysian ginseng and so on. But these are the two names most commonly in Western countries. And the fantastic results. So you can actually go and get a supplement which has that in it. I've actually found that you can probably even get a drink in the supermarket nowadays with some of that in it as well. My favourite is something called ashwagandha. My pronunciation is terrible. It's an Ayurvedic and Indian herb. I really promote it. It's great for balancing stress hormones, a whole raft of things in your body. You're ready, and increasing your testosterone level. And this one's been used for thousands of years in terms of overall health for both males and females. Another name for that, the scientific name is called withania. So you either look for withania or ashwagandha. Fenugreek seed and black seed, you can actually get them from some of the local seed supplying shops that you have. Fenugreek, black seed is also called nigella. Marvelous, great smell to it. And I actually put a little bit of nigella, just a little bit, into my smoothies. This is where you can add on these things, because I've got the nuts and the veggies, and moringa goes in my smoothies as well. So you've got all these things. And then finally, while there's lots more herbs, these are the top ones that show up in the scientific literature. And of course, the final one, and while it doesn't actually increase testosterone as far as I can tell from the studies, there's a lot of literature on how it supports men's health around low testosterone levels. So it seems to be very supportive. And of course, when it comes to prostate health, very, very important, guys. So everyone over about 30 should be supplementing with a little bit of saw palmetto as well. So I hope you've got an understanding here, because what I'm trying to do is encourage you to take control of your own health. And by adopting these type of strategies as I presented here, you will regain not just your testosterone, but so many other aspects of your health and well-being. Good luck. And if you like this, please share it with your friends. Let's get out there and get this message out there. Thanks.